I'm not gonna do this thing where I say hello. So salutations. um, Now it's quite some time has passed since I read Off the Road. By Carolyn Cassady. Off the Road, My Years with Kara Ginsberg and Neil Cassady. Cassidy. And which is unfortunate because I like doing book reviews immediately after I read the book, because then it's like it's fresh in my mind. I'm really hyped about it, and of course I'm hyped about it. I'm probably gonna get more hyped the longer I talk about it too. But yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at my lipstick. I just applied some. But I love Cassidy, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'm and I was referring to Neil, but Carolyn's pretty cool too. I like her, and it was very interesting. A very interesting read. Unfortunately, now I've started reading Crime and Punishment, which I'm not going to do a book review about because I actually have read a lot about and off the beat poets, so I have something to say, but I don't really know anything about Dostoevsky and Crime and Punishment, and I'm dumb, so I don't. I might do a book review about Crime and Punishment and just be like, Rasumikums is a Chad. Wow, I'm sorry. Take away my meme card. That is so lame. just put me in prison. I don't know. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking silly. I read the book, and I've talked about it a bit before. But now I finished the whole thing, and I finished it. When did I finish it? I think like last week. No? Monday? I don't know. It's Friday today, and woo. Gonna have Taco Friday, which is a Norwegian thing. Did you know that Norway actually eats the most tacos in the world per capita after Mexico? Even though my Spanish friends told me that Norwegian tacos aren't tacos but like fajitas or something. So maybe those statistics are wrong, but I don't know. We eat a bunch of tacos because that's kind of in our culture, and I actually am not really that fond of Mexican tacos, and I haven't been to Mexico, but I've been to California, which is where I've tried Mexican food several times in different places in California, and California is like right by next to Mexico, and it's not Mexico. Didn't it used to be Mexico? But it's not Mexico. So maybe I would like it if I go to Mexico, but I don't like the difference. But that's like my favorite foods, and all Norwegian favorite food is like taco. It's so yummy. Norwegian tacos is amazing, and which is probably terrible because like a bastardation. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna eat tacos later, but this is a book review about Off the Road by Carolyn Cassady. I already went to the library and handed in the book, which kind of felt sad because as I said several times before, I actually started reading that last year, and then I didn't finish it because it was too fun, so I wanted to save it, which was stupid. And then I had to let enough time pass so I wouldn't be too bored when reading the first. I read so many. I read like 200 pages, and it's like 400 pages long, and I read like 150 pages. I realized when I just kept like, I've read this before, but I couldn't find where I stopped because by the time I tried to read it again, I already knew everything that happened in Neil's life. Well, apparently not everything, because then suddenly I was reading the Dharma Bums, and like Neil's girlfriend, like killed herself in a very dramatical way, which I found out more about it in Carolyn Cassady's book, because Jack wanted the Dharma Bums to just be like cool and no problems, which is also really fun because since I already read the Dharma Bums, and now I have to read Desolation Angel so I can like kind of see, because Carolyn is in that book and events is in that book that's in the biography, but this is a book and not a biography. It's semi-biographical, and she talked about it, how it wasn't totally true and represent her. So now I can read this book and be like, oh, I know what really happened. And then in Dharma Bumps, I was like, I mean, knew already, I think, because because I read the foreword, because I didn't care. Like, usually I save the introduction because it spoils the book, it spoils events, and like it did. It talked about the suicide because the suicide was supposed to be like the main plot event in the book, but it only got like 2 pages because the Dharma Bumps is really just like, oh, I was chilling, I was like sitting on top of a mountain alone, and like everything is empty and it's like so nice. I said it before too. And everything is just like, oh, and like I feel the universe. I don't know. It was just like very beautiful sentences and renditions about his life when he became super Buddhist with Gary Snyder. But it wasn't as nice as he made it sound like in the Dharma Bumps, which Off the Road taught me more about. So Off the Road was a really good book. And I wish I had it here, and it felt really, because, as I said, because, like, I was talking about how I have actually read it, I started reading it before, and then I've just borrowed these books for so long, and had it for so long, and, like, extended the loan too, because I borrowed it, like, several months ago, and then extended the loan and re-borrowed it, and now I actually finally read it, and it's just sad, because I wish it was my book, because I love that book. It's just, like, and it has pictures 2 places of Neil and everything, and I want to buy the Beat picture book in case, because the thing is, at this really cool bookstore, they have that's also like a comic book store, they have what do they have? And the comic not like Marvel, but like indie comics, they have a Beat section, and they had pictures of Beat, but it's like in plastic, so I can't open it and see if, because the thing is, what if there's pictures in that book that I can't find online? Because there are pictures in Off the Road that I've never seen before, that I've only seen online. And then I watched this documentary about Jack, and they had like this picture, because there's one picture of like the most famous one or something about, that's Jack and Neil, and that was in Off the Road too. Where like Neil is like standing like this, and his neck looks really like broken and ugly. But then there's another picture I saw in the documentary that I actually took a picture of and sent to my friends, like, oh my god, I've never seen this picture before, because it's the same day, same session, but it's like they stand like this there, and he's not like weird. So I want all the pictures. I want to see all of the pictures of them, and also, why is there only Neil looked really old really fast. Like, he was hella cute, and I've seen him be hella cute in like 2 pictures, and then he looked like an old man. But well, and also Allen Ginsberg, like, he was also just became kind of ugly. This is very hello. This is what I take away from reading like the best minds. Is I'm like, oh, he looked ugly when he was old, but he was a pedophile, so it's okay to make fun of him. Is it though? No, not really. I mean, because even if he's a pedophile and someone looks like him, like the guy who played in the Alvin and the Chipmunks, who played Allen Ginsberg's dad, that I can never remember name. Louis Ginsberg? I don't know. But he looks exactly like Allen Ginsberg, the guy who played his dad in the movie Killer Darlings. And he's not a pedophile. I mean, I haven't heard of anything related to that. Everyone's a pedophile nowadays. I mean, everyone's always been, but now it's not okay anymore. Jeez. The world. Where did my... Oh, here. So, what I was saying was that, what was I saying? Pedophile, Allen Ginsberg, ugly, Neil Cassady, 1 picture, I want to buy the book. I should go back to the actual book review. So, the book I kind of liked the beginning most, like, because then yeah, as I said previously, it made me fall in love with Neil through Carolyn's eyes, and then I kind of acted like a jackass for like several years. What's my grandpa doing? What is he doing? He acted like a jackass. Because he was just, and I knew this about him, he was just like, now he's like hanging out with Luann, and now he's like hanging out with Carolyn, and now he's hanging out with like Allen Ginsberg, and he's hanging out with Luann and Allen Ginsberg, and Carolyn catches them, which is like, what the fudge? But in the end, I think he was a really good dad. He never fought in front of the children, and it was sad to, his death was also very sad, because it's like, I mean, at least he got to see his grandchild, which is very lucky. But then he wanted to stay with Carolyn. But I understand why she said go away, because like he always, she had a life too, and she had children, she had teenagers, and Neil was a lot to handle, and you can't expect someone to just, I mean, she did so much for him. So I understood how she had enough, and then it's a good thing that she doesn't feel like it was her fault that he died, because like she just told him to, because he tried to be like, please let me move it back in, and he was kind of losing it towards the end, like banging on the bathroom door and like frightening her, just being like, not like violent towards her, but just like talking, just kind of being like psychotic. And not psychotic as in, wow, what a psycho, because like, don't just throw away the word psychotic, but he was actually psychotic, and which is why I'm using the word, because that's what he was, and you shouldn't use that word for people you just don't like or who's acting weird. It's like, no, it's like when you are experiencing psychosis, it's where it's appropriate, and he was, and he was just like, what? And I didn't know that too. I didn't know the details of his death like that. He went to, and then he was gonna meet his girlfriend, and because he had a lot of girlfriends while being married to, not a lot. He had the girlfriend that was kind of the worst one, when he had a girlfriend, like the one who killed herself, and that, so, or she didn't actually kill herself. She was also psychotic and deathly afraid of cops, and then she jumped. That happened in Dharma, but I've talked about this before, so I'm not gonna. She died accidentally because of her delusion that cops were trying to harm her, and then a cop actually came and tried to save her, but then because of her delusion, that was unfortunate. Shouldn't have, but he was asleep, so he couldn't do anything about it, and then he snuck out. That I didn't know, he snuck out so that Carolyn wouldn't be implicated, which is good. And they identified the body, and that must have been very sad, because he loved her, but maybe he didn't. I don't know, because Carolyn said he was very good with words and writing letters to ladies, and no wonder he got a bunch of ladies if he wrote those beautiful, gorgeous letters instead of beautiful, gorgeous things. Also, just like, because like this book really did, like I was right the whole time about Neil. Like, he's a very special person. Like, when you went to San Quentin from 58 to 60, 1960. San Quentin prison, because he gave cops like 3 joints as a thank you for the ride, and then they came and arrested him, and Carolyn didn't want to deposit the house because she was like, this is all I had. And again, it's like, that sucked, because he probably wouldn't have had to spend any time in prison, but he had to be in prison for 2 years, because Carolyn didn't want to lose the house. But it's like, you know what, it's fine. Like, she finally bought that house, and she did go through a lot because of him, because he's so, again, it's understandable, even though it really did suck, and he was kind of really mad at her. I can't remember how to say you were mad at someone, but it's mad at her, yes. And but it's understandable, and he also understood that, I think, after a while. But of course, it's also understandable he was mad. But in prison, then there's this preacher came, or not preacher, but they had like this club, and like Carolyn talked to this guy, and he said like, she said, oh, you're gonna this really famous guy, I think. He said you're gonna recognize Neil instantly. He's gonna be the first to sign up for your class, and he was, and he knew because he just he like he's just like an angel. He's just, not an angel, or because they said something with Haley, which is why I said the angel thing. But he's just so special. He has this life. That's the thing. He's alive. He's so intensely alive, and he has this aura. He has just like, and of course I can't know this because I never met him, but how Carolyn describes him, how Jack describes him in all of his books, where he's like on the road, but also I can't wait to read Visions of Cody Pomeroy, which is Neil Cassady, and how Jack describes him, how Alan Alan was hella in love with him, like everyone, which is understandable, and it's sad that I think Neil was also kind of in love with Elm, but then again, I think, and I'm also pretty sure Neil was like molested by an older guy who was like his sponsor, or there has been rumors about it, that was his first experience with a man, and he was like not old enough for that, and so but Neil actually did say in a letter that he's bisexual, but of course it didn't work out with Alan. And maybe I've talked about this before, but I think it's important. So whatever, I'll mention it again. And then just everyone, and then Carolyn describing other people, like Ken Casey too, is just like, wow, Neil, and also just very famous, but also just regular people are just like mesmerized by him, and like how he recognizes Neil out of like 60 people or 100 people or something, because it just proves again and again how he really was just like this really special person. And it was interesting reading how she described Gregory Corso, because he was just like, he was angry and didn't say anything and always complaining, and Jack or Alan, I think it was Jack, thought that Neil and Corso would get along super well, but they didn't at all. And then Corso wrote back like, sorry, I was such a bitch when I was at your house. And then they became friends, but like, that was interesting. I don't know much about Corso. I haven't read that much. I mean, I'm trying. I know his life. I did write like this kind of, went through his life and wrote like keywords and key sentences about his life, and that was also, I should read more about him, because that was really interesting and insane. But this is a book, this is a video about Neil, so I'm not gonna get into that. But what a character he was. Corso, I mean, or what a life he led, that is insane. But so is Neil's life, which I'm supposed to be talking about. And now I understand even better why I fell so in love with Dean Moriarty, as thousands of other people have. And people also hate it, and that was sad. It was sad how reading in, because the book was also about like her life with Jack, because oh my god, they were like so in love, and that was like so, I mean, it was kind of nice, and but like how they had like this three-way relationship, even though it didn't work. I mean, because they were jealous, and Neil was jealous and didn't handle it, and Jack was jealous, and he's a character, and it's like didn't really work out. But it was kind of nice how like started out with them like slow dancing, and then Jack actually like comes to live with them several times, and like Carolyn and Jack just gets it on with Neil's blessing, but then Neil couldn't handle it. But they really had a romance. And it's also interesting how Carolyn notes that even though it's just kind of by chance that she married Neil, but not really though, because she really did love Neil, and she thought that, and even though Neil doesn't care about marriage at all, that's like, I think that's the most important part, is that for Neil, marriage doesn't mean anything. But both Jack and Carolyn was kind of not religious, because Jack was very religious, but Carolyn wasn't. She was just very like, she keeps mentioning that, how she had family values, very like just very strict family values, basically. Like she wanted a house and a garden and children and a slow life, and just Neil to be at home and working and everything. And Neil just couldn't handle just staying still like that. He was just driving super fast and being everywhere and going on the road with the Merry Pranksters and with Jack, of course, and just being everywhere. And also, he had some interesting sexual desires, which means, what I mean is that he masturbated like a lot, and he started late, but when he started, he did it a lot. Like, he had to do it like several times a day, and then just, I don't know, is that a lot? But it was a lot. I don't know exactly how much, but it was just like a lot. And then it's just that it was very different. I mean, Carolyn's and Neil's sex life was kind of difficult because I don't know if they ever resolved that. I think they resolved it. She never said that it was resolved. She just said that it sucked because it was just way too violent. And then Luann was a better fit for him, because that's the thing, that I think that Carolyn was really the better fit for Neil when it came to like the family part of, because of course he also has the part where he wants to just be a dad and just like have a home and have it nice and everything at home, and but then he also has this other side where he just wants to be everywhere and do everything. And Carolyn, at one point, Carolyn did get enough of that and was like, no, you can't just like stay home whenever you like and get everything you want. Like, you have to choose. Like, you can't just always just abandon your family and do whatever you want. And then he died. But she also wrote, that was kind of crazy, she wrote like, it's kind of good that he died young, because it would be weird, because he's like the epitome of life, and it would be weird to see him as an old man. It wouldn't fit him. So that's one way to look at the love of your life dying, I guess. But yeah, it really just was life. That's just, and he's so fascinating because of that. And I want to read his letters. And it's sad that he never wrote anything, but at the same time, it's not, because it's like what this one book did. Like, he obviously was just like this, just like the person he was. And it's so good that he hung out with so many writers, because now we get to experience him even though he's not here anymore. So yeah, I think the book was really well written. I really liked just simple sentences, but still like very informative, and some difficult words, of course, but like it was kind of, it's, in the start it was more it felt more like a real book and not like a fictional book, kind of like in the way it was written. And then after a while, the only thing I do have one critique, and that is it's annoying how she wrote. I think I said this too before, but it was annoying how it wasn't super easy to understand when everything was going on. A lot of times the dates weren't said. You just said Christmas, but then it's like, he said suddenly months passed, and you're like, it was a Christmas 1948, 49. I'm not sure like what year are we in right now, because like you just move so fast and skip some months, and it's just confusing. So I didn't like that, because now I kind of don't feel like I have a time perspective. It's just because so much stuff happens. But I did really like her romance with Jack. It was sweet, and she realized, oh yeah, that's the thing. I was gonna say how like Jack, Carolyn's family values, which she mentions a lot, and she's always like, oh wow, Allen Ginsberg is like just getting naked, and that was really nice when she wrote like about the time where just it was like a party, and she just lay down on the rug with Allen Ginsberg naked, and she said something about like, I think I actually wrote my friend the quote because I really like it, but I can't remember. It was just something like how nice it was to be lying somewhere, just lying completely naked next to a man who's not concerned with her body, only his own. I think that what she said, like, he's not concerned with my body, just his own, because like Allen Ginsberg is a homosexual and he's not interested. And she keeps it, and she also, another thing is she kept seeing, because oh yeah, there was a period of time where Allen Ginsberg lived with Neil, and Carolyn, and it was amazing. He was an amazing guest. They got along so well, but then she catched him and Neil together in bed, so he had to, and she was so sad. She was just like, "Oh no, I'm so sad. You have to go." And he left the same day and like stopped staying with them. But and she just kept saying like, "Oh, I hate this. Why am I like this? Like, I wish I could be as open, but I have strict family values." And like, of course, Neil is cheating, but he also kept saying like, "I'm not a homophobe," or "I hope I'm not. I really thought I wasn't," and stuff. And it's like, no, of course you're not a homophobe because you don't like that your husband is cheating on you. It doesn't. That's not gender. That's not homophobic. It's like, it's your husband. You don't like him being together with another person, even if that is a man. That's not homophobic. So yeah, but I think for Neil, marriage doesn't really mean anything, and he just keeps being, he's like notorious cheater. Is that the word? But I think that Carolyn is more spiritually matched with him. Like, they actually did. Who was it? Was it like Case? Maybe, was that the one? They got really into this one life philosophy that I feel like I should read up on it, but I was kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't seem that fun. But at the same time, I should read up on it because it was a big part of Neil's life. But I think that Carolyn is very intelligent. I don't know if I don't. I mean, she didn't really write that much about anything I talked about, but she was basically, oh yeah, then we discussed these things, which is good though, because it's like, why would I haven't read those books they were discussing, so I don't know, but I think that she was more intellectually matched with Neil than a lot of his other suitors. I mean, Alan, of course, but then the problem with his gender. That's actually another thing Carolyn wrote, was like, he could have, the first time he caught him and Alan or something, I said he could have, or I don't know, maybe not, but at one point earlier in their lives, and in the book, but in their lives, she said something like, he could have been right where I was if it wasn't for the accident of gender. So yeah, basically, like, if Allen Ginsberg or Neil, one of them was a woman, or homosexuality wasn't a big deal at the time at all, and also maybe if he hadn't been molested as a kid by a man, then maybe Alan and Neil would actually, because Neil did say that he was like in love with Alan, but he couldn't, like, maybe he was just bi-romantic, because I think that he was really sad that their sex life didn't work out too. Like, it didn't work for him with Alan. So maybe he was just bi-romantic. He was just in love with Alan and loved him, but I don't know. He did say he was bisexual, which is why I'm calling him bisexual. That's what he said he was to Alan, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. And maybe fortunately, because like Alan, I don't know. I think that Carolyn was good because she was basic. She was basic. That's what she kept saying. She was like, I'm basic. And then Alan just gets undressed. And then one time she joins him. It was great. But like, sometimes it's just, what is going on? She just doesn't. She did smoke some pot and stuff. But still, like with Neil, and Neil had a terrible marijuana habit and thought it was so great. And it's just like, no. But I mean, it's cool though, because then it was like all fresh and new. Like, when he started smoking, it's like, wow, look what this is. This is the marijuana. And I was like, oh yeah, weed. We all know it. We know of it. It's not that big of a deal. But then it's like, oh, interesting. What? And acid too. It's like, wow, we just discovered this new drug, which is like, wow, that is pretty crazy. But now it's like, it's acid. I mean, like, it's more interesting when you don't really have that much research and it's completely new, and it's like, what is going on? I mean, I guess there's new drugs now, and it's not fun because it's just dangerous, because it's like, we don't know anything about this because it's completely new. But they were adventurers, and I can't believe they didn't. I mean, they did die young, but they died young from like chill causes, like Jack, who's just like alcoholism, and Neil, who's just like, that's kind of, but that wasn't, I think maybe Carolyn, the way Carolyn described his death is affecting my view on his death. Like, maybe it was a good time for him to die. um, he was, when was it? It was 4th, because his birthday was 8th of February and he died 4th of February, so it was 4 years short of his 40. Which birthday was he? He was born in 1926. And he was like 40. I don't know. I don't remember the death year. No, oh yeah, it was 1968, I think, or 69. Maybe it was 69. Yeah. I know he was doing stuff in 68. But I think he died in 69, but I don't think he didn't live to the 70s. He did not do that. So it gotta be 68 or something. Okay, yeah, that is correct. And I don't know how that is in his 40s. I don't know. I can't do math. Early 40s, 1926. But I think it was it 68? I think it was maybe it was 69. Why? How would I not remember if he died in 69? Because do I have more? I feel like I have more I want to chat about. I think, but I definitely did think that this book sheds light on some stuff that I didn't. I mean, I did learn a lot from the book, which is interesting because it's like I read so much about his life already, but I still managed to find. Of course, this is an entire life, but it's just so interesting because it's like she writes about stuff other people don't bother writing about. Like, even though I've tried to find every article I can on the internet, it's just people don't care about like how he was at home with his kids and like that he had like this boring ass job fixing cars and like in like Los Gatos in like 61 and it's just 1960, but just wondering about all the exciting things. But it was really cool too to see just how he was really, I think and the fact that Carolyn, that's the thing, I want to talk about Carolyn too, God, because I think she was very clever because she keeps up the conversation with all these clever people, and that's like Jack also said, like, wow, Carolyn, you're like the only woman who matches, or like, I don't know, because it feels like this, the thing is, the big generation, it does kind of feel like just like this, oh, I don't know the English word for it. You know when you're in a circle and you jack off? Yeah. And just like a boys club. Like, the big generation kind of felt like when you just glance at it, it feels like it's just boys. And not only like the main beast, but also like the extended beast. It's just like, it's just boys, and the girls who were just there to like be pretty and have sex with a couple of them that weren't gay, but because they all were gay. I mean, they all were bisexual, even Jack, which is why he hated himself so much. Probably, I don't know. I feel, honestly though, wasn't that, did Carolyn write anything about that? I don't, what was it? Because there was something that was like, oh wow, oh yeah, oh no, he wrote about it, he that was Jack, his own words, when he wrote, like when I read in his book, he was talking about his own like homosexual thoughts or tendencies and being like, oh no, but I'm a good Christian boy. It's unfortunate though. It's really sad that he just hated himself so much and also couldn't handle the criticism, which is also fun because Off the Road really did show the dark side of Jack, where it's just like he being like, oh no, like everyone hates me in my book and it's so sad and I'm an alcoholic and hello, I'm gonna show up drunk and be like a jackass because I'm drunk. And from like the slow dancing with Carolyn and like just having just swell time, just so romantic. And she also, it was fun when Carolyn kind of got pissed at Neil and she was just like, okay, I'm gonna look real good but not too good because you can't know what's up, and I'm gonna put on some music, make a dinner, some wine, and then she begged Jack. I think she was the one that made the first move because he was kind of like, but then she was like, yep, this is gonna happen, because Neil was just like, whatever. She was like, oh yeah, you should totally do that, and she's like, bitch, like, I love you, but you keep being a cheater, and I hate that. So she's just like, okay, Jack is hella cute, we have hella fun, and sometimes it was really good when they all just had like fun discussions, talked to each other, and all hung out, but other times just jealousy and sadness. And then Jack and Neil, they're both characters. Feel bad for Carolyn, like gotta be, but also she got like, it was really cool that, and I think Jack wrote like, you're the only woman I loved and stuff, but it does make me happy that they actually, I mean, she did feel kind of out of place when she went with them partying. That's kind of sad, because she keeps bringing up the fact that I'm basic, I have like this strict family background, and they went to party, and I don't like that. But it was also fun. That's actually really fun, because she talked about how she hung out with them, and I feel like that's kind of relatable too, when that she hung out with Jack and Neil, and she's like, finally she went out with them on one of those, like, because they keep like having those, like, oh, we're gonna go out and have so much fun tonight, it's gonna be awesome, and she's like, she went with them one night, and then it's just them driving around looking for weed, and they couldn't find any, so it just sucked, and she's just like, wow, this is what I've been missing out on. I've been feeling so I feel like that's kind of relatable. Not gonna delve into that, but yeah. And it's really the whole time value thing. She just keeps bringing it up because it's just, she feels out of place, and then they have other girls they party with, but she's like there for like, she's the woman they actually did love, and that kind of sucked that she couldn't like be like a big part of the beats, even though she was very intelligent, she was very creative too, like she painted and made like costume design and everything, but she liked being home with her children and having like a proper life, and not the crazy beat style.